Well, barriers and spermicides were no, and hormonal contraceptives are a big no. What are we supposed to do if my husband and I have real legitimate reasons for not wanting to have a child? I mean, my dad's in the hospital with cancer. We're living at my mom's house to help her out. My husband just lost his job. I don't have a job. We have no means of income right now. I'm not even in the emotional state to take care of myself, let alone a child.
Hey, it's fine. It's okay. Like I said before, there's nothing wrong with putting off pregnancy when you have serious reasons. Obviously, the only surefire way of not conceiving is by not having sex. But extended abstinence is not always the best choice to go, especially if you and your spouse are already in a rough situation, a tough point in your relationship, and you need that reminder of the love of the other person and the reminder of the promise of mutual fidelity that you both gave each other. However, artificial contraceptives are not the only kind that are out there. There are natural methods of tracking a woman's reproductive cycle to determine at what points she will not conceive if you have sex then. I thought this was universally known as natural family planning, but Wikipedia says that's only the Catholic version. Planned Parenthood calls it fertility awareness-based methods of birth control. They're the same thing, though. As I said in the previous video, there's only a specific time in which a woman can become pregnant. By knowing when she's at this point and abstaining from sex a little before, a little after, and during that time, then the woman can effectively avoid getting pregnant. Or on the other hand, if you are trying to conceive, you know that this is the time that you want to try to have your child. Thanks to the great innovations of science in recent years, we now have pretty accurate methods of tracking this period and determining when that is. One way of doing it is recording your internal temperature. Your temperature fluctuates throughout your cycle in accordance with different hormones, so you can track that and determine when your prime point is. You can also examine the thickness of the cervical mucus. As I said before, it gets very slippery when your cervix is open, so that's the time when you want to avoid having sex. Then there's the age-old method of keeping track of your period on your calendar, and that's just a basic rhythm method. It's not terribly accurate, but if you use all three of these together, then you can get a very good idea of when your fertile time is. Finally, there are a few more sophisticated ways of doing like saliva and urinal testing to determine, when the hormone levels of your blood are highest and whatnot. Think this sounds complicated? Well, I mean, not really, but in this age of smartphones, everything is being made easier, and there are actually several apps that you can use to help you easily and accurately keep track of your cycle. I've linked an article below that compares, I think, 4 different apps and just shows their strengths and weaknesses and what they do. Now, what are the benefits of using this fertility awareness way of regulating birth? Well, as you can probably tell, you're treating your body basically the opposite of what you would be doing when using artificial birth control. Instead of administering artificial things to override your system, you're just paying really close attention to your system and working with it, working through nature to try and space out birth. You become very attuned to your body when you're paying this close attention to it. You're not fighting against it and trying to change what it does. So it's really very healthy. You become very aware of what your body is doing, and the functions of your body are much less mysterious because you know what's going on. NAPRO technology is this women's health science, I'm pretty sure it's fairly recent, which approaches gynecology in a very natural way by studying each individual woman's cycle and her hormone levels and stuff like that, and that way they get a really good idea of what's going on in your body when you're having woman problems. I also have a link to that below. It has a lot more information. Some people consider these temporary abstinence times as to be like really annoying. Such an inconvenience, you can't have sex whenever you want. But to be honest, it is really not good for you to constantly indulge yourself in what you want to do. Fasting is good for your self-control and also for your health. Statistically proven. And so you should definitely use it as an alternative to artificial birth control.